supposed. So if you can make it shorter, more concrete, only main point, that's going to be very good. And then the problem is really big, but I really expect that like if we can describe like some kind of statistic or some current like problem, so that like if I'm an investor, I will see very clearly the problem, rather than we just mentioned just a little bit about the problem, but it's a big problem. And I really love the solution with the gamification. That's going to be very powerful. For the scalability, actually, I see that you are doing the experimentation, like you're starting from small and then you do something, but I don't see it in your presentation. But I know that you kind of doing that, and that gamification is very important, like for us when we start some like a disruptive startup or a disruptive project. So congratulations, Team 16, and I hope you can get some good information from us. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Crystal. I wanted to see if Karina is able to go now. Otherwise, I'm happy to go, and maybe Karina can buy you a few minutes, or if you're ready to go, you're welcome to go now.
I think it's better that you go, Eric, and then I can go after you.
All right, great. You. Sounds good. Thanks. All right. So again, great job, Team 16. I would echo, a number of items that we just heard Crystal say, and I would agree with some of the feedback about the MTP. I mean, obviously this is a pretty difficult issue to tackle, right? And it's hard enough to tackle it, much less in the time box that you guys had, with 3 hours. I think you did a good job, nonetheless. Is it massive? Is it transformative? Sure. So remember, the MTP is supposed to be like a 20, 30-year thing into the future, right? Like, what is going to be that future state in like 2040, 2050, right? Who knows? But that's what the whole MTP is supposed to kind of describe. That sort of, it's not even a vision statement, right? It's ultra long-term. But I would agree, if you can kind of succinct it a little bit, just kind of shorten it down, I think you could kind of tighten it up a little bit. That'd be great. I was looking to hear a little bit more about team and community. I mean, you did mention communities, of course, and the 5 communities you're going to be dealing with. If you recall from the training, there were a couple other sub-questions under community, namely, does the community share the purpose? Do they actually have the problem, and will they help with the solution, right? So maybe just think a little bit more about that. Again, it was in the training that you guys all did this week. Moving on to item 3, which was the problem and the solution. Clearly, I think, everybody knows the problem. You cited a lack of understanding, which, led to distrust, fear, and even a lack of community, right? So I think you have a good handle on that. The solution was rather interesting. I mean, I'm not a big gamification kind of person, VR or AI for that matter, but I'm open to ideas, of course, and this is a big enough problem that's certainly going to be worth the try here. I think you also cited about intercultural competence and using education and intervention. So I wanted to hear a little bit more about that. But again, I know with the time box today was a little bit aggressive. And then lastly, the 4th thing was about the EXL Canvas, right, which you showed us. It was good to see you had picked 4 of those. We had teams earlier today that we were disrupting, and they had actually all 10 filled out. So it was good to see you kind of focus on the 4, community and crowd, and you sort of were targeting NGOs. An interesting one, certainly a fine one to start with. For algorithms, of course, you had picked AI, and I think with gamification, obviously they go pretty well hand in hand. You also cited VR. The 3rd one you talked about was engagement with teams. I wanted to hear a little bit more of that. Wasn't too sure. I think you talked about corporate teams, right? So just wanted to hear maybe a little bit more explanation about that. And lastly, the 4th one you mentioned was, of course, dashboards. And you mentioned leaderboards, which is a phrase I haven't heard in a while. So I'd be curious to, again, hear a little bit more about that. But again, overall, I think just a really good kind of, a great attempt, right, to deal with this really, really serious issue. So great job, Team 16. So with that, let's head over to Karina and see what she has for Team 16.
Hi, everyone, and nice to see all familiar faces. For me, it was a great presentation. Congratulations for the Team 16, because it was really enlightening. I love gaming to break paradigms, to change the status quo. We can see that with Pokemon Go. We had the augmented reality for many, many times, and then the moment that we saw Pokemon Go, it was the moment that people realize how this augmented reality works. So I think it's a great technique to break barriers. So I think this is a great approach that you guys are taking. I love the NTP. I agree with Crystal, it was too long. Think about your NTP should be a magnet for people. It should fit in a t-shirt so that you can put it in your t-shirt and people can connect with it. So it was a little bit too long. I would take like the last part away, even if you sacrifice the second piece of the NTP. But I think it's good to make it sure more less is more in this case. So I think that's some feedback for you to think about. And then on the problem, very well stated, and the solution, the only thing that I was thinking is, how are you gonna make people play the game? You know, what is the incentive for people to join this and to go into this game? What are you gonna give them? You know, I think just the value of seeing, being exposed to people of different races is super valuable. I think this is something that some people, unfortunately, haven't been, and I think part of the racism is ignorance. You know, like they are not, they haven't been exposed. So this can help a lot. But what would be the incentive for people to download your game and go on your game and play the game? I think that would be the next thing that I will focus right now moving forward. But congratulations, because I think it's great. It's great that many of you presented. I think this is awesome as well. So thank you so much, and yeah, keep the good work.
All right, great, thanks. So I did this with some of the earlier groups today. I'm going to ask if folks would just want to throw on their cameras just for a minute. We'll get a quick photo before everybody gets too sleepy or drops off the call, whatever. So if you can hear us, if you would just throw your cameras on for a second, and we'll take a group photo, and we're going to go from there. Does anybody have any questions while we wait for a few of you to turn your cameras on? We do have 3 more teams coming up. Next up will be Team 17, and then we'll go to Team 24, and finally 25. So I'm going to ask Lanny and Danielle and Nelson and Hugo and Andy and Manor and Benjamin to throw your cameras on. We'll take a quick shot, and then we'll go right to Team 17. Now it's your chance, guys. Getting ready. Throw those cameras on. I'm going to take a quick photo here. All right. So if everybody would, take a look into your webcams, and we'll take the photo in 3, 2, 1. All right. Thanks, folks. All right, so again, don't forget the feedback form is in the chat as well. So hopefully everybody had a chance to fill out your feedback form for Team 16. And for those of you that joined late, I just posted it again as well. So we're looking to get feedback for all the teams. And then now let's move on to the presentation for Team 17.
Welcome to the Future of Unity. We are the Go-Givers, Team 17. And this is a little bit of our DNA. Angela from USA, she's about compassion, communication, and connectedness. Amanda, that's me, from South Africa, creating a more just, equitable world through active citizenship and empowerment. Victoria from United Arab Emirates, originally from Russia, leveraging human-centered design and exponential technologies to build future breakthrough solutions. Kelly from Netherlands, strategy enthusiast and believer that chaos creates opportunity. Kai from Germany, global citizen focused on delivering positive change. Elena from Russia, beautify the world with technology. Taimi from Namibia, perseverance to deliver for the voiceless. Andy from Cuba or Canada, accelerate human evolution. James from Canada, VC investing in children's entertainment to teach universal values to kids around the world. Thomas from Switzerland, project management, IT, and AI expert for all use cases with 20 plus years AI experience. And Meryl from USA, agile leadership catalyst and coach, seeing everyone's potential for greatness. Here's the first picture that we took together on the 23rd of August. That was our first meeting. And then today we took this picture. And our community that we work with are people who offer solutions, leaders, business leaders, country leaders, authors, bloggers, social influencers, lawyers, financial advisors. And the people with the problem are those who lack access to resources, example, those living in poverty, lack of food, education, skills, housing, and entrepreneurs, small businesses needing support, as well as organizations who support them. I'm now introducing Angela to take us through our massive transformative purpose.
Through our diverse perspectives and passionate talking, we finally settled on our massive transformative purpose, our MTP, which is shifting the world mindset from go-getter to go-giver. So the problem that we are attacking is that organizations lack the access to resources and information, and they're not collaborating with those who have the resources and the information to streamline their efforts. What we mean are there are organizations, 750 plus, that are addressing peace all over the world, but they're not helping each other. They're not connected. So with our solution, we would help them connect to find the resources and the information they need to exponentiate their solutions. If we did not do this, this might result in more poverty, more conflict, less access to education, and isolation. Who has this problem? The organizations who are trying to help people out there who lack things that they need. But these organizations lack the access to equitable resources, trusted information, and purposeful networking to help their beneficiaries in a more impactful and sustainable way. Our solution is connecting and incentivizing organizations to collaborate so that they can help more people get the resources, kind of like a matchmaking app with exponential technologies. We address this with knowledge management to match the needs and then the providers and investors. We match the needs and network so that the resources that are needed, like food, information, education, internet, accurate, unbiased information, business support, and logistics, get to the people that need them in a larger way. It's exponentiated effort. And James will take us through the EXO attributes canvas.
Thanks, Angela. So, we could use any of the attributes from exponential organizations to really help move us towards, abundance and achieving our MTP. The ones we've chosen to focus on are community and crowd and engagement from the scale side and experimentation from ideas. Frankly, the project does not work and we can't achieve our purpose unless we have a community of people who are pulling together and engaged. We want people who don't just put their hands up, but that get involved. And so in order to get people to put their hands up, we talk about the purpose and what we're working on, and we find people that are like-minded. In order to engage them, we want to incentivize them and help them reach that top tier of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And in order to know how to do those two things, we're going to test our hypotheses by doing interviews, by doing surveys, and by experimenting to find out whether our hypotheses are valid or invalid. And in an example, we'll have Taimi take us through a case study of how this could work.
Thank you, James. I work for a community-based organization in Namibia that provide sexual and reproductive health services to rural women and young girls. 5 months ago, during the state of emergency and COVID-19 lockdown in our country, the government was not able to provide us with access to health commodities like condoms, like contraceptives, and other related supply, because this is where we usually access these commodities for free for us to be able to provide these services to rural communities. So we were stuck. What we did, we reached out to the Co-Opportunity Network, where we have sister organizations that have resources in their different communities and organizations, and told them that, look, we really want to continue providing these essential services even during this COVID-19 emergencies. What can you offer us? How can we access these resources, especially when the borders are closed? So what they did, they were able to really ship these commodities within 14 days, so much enough that it can last for the next 12 months. And we were also able to hand some of those to the government to be able to provide these essential services to the communities that are accessing public health facilities. Thank you. Now I'm handing off.
From go-getter to go-giver. We sure hope you'll join us.
All right, nice work, team 17. I'll start with some feedback, and then we'll go to Karina, and then finally Crystal. So again, really like the MTP. I really like the idea of the go-giver, right? So I think that was a nice kind of transition from go-getter to go-giver. Was it massive, transformative, descriptive of the world, connected to abundance? I would say yes, for the most part, right? So for the second item regarding the team, I really, really liked the slide you guys showed. We had all the team members. It looked like, I don't know if those were like descriptives of the people or their own MTPs or whatever, but I really thought that was well done, the best I've seen so far today. Wanted to see a little bit more with the community, though. So again, was there enough details about the purpose being shared? Does the community actually have the problem, and then are they willing to help with the solution? So we did get some details. Just wanted to see that expanded a little bit. Like if that was equal to your team slide, that would have been like right out of the park or there, right? So the third thing was about the problem and the solution. Right, so you talked about how, problem-wise, there's just no resources, not enough info, things like that. I think you're on track there. Would have seen maybe a little bit more of a deeper dive there. And I know it's tough in 3 hours, right? And then solution, you were talking about connecting and incentivizing, right? Which I thought was really interesting. Wanted to hear just slightly a little bit more on that. And then you did move to the fourth part with your EXO attributes in the canvas, which again, you had 9 attributes on there. Again, great for getting 9. Wanted to see maybe a little less. Nothing wrong with doing more. If you did have 9 on the canvas, certainly would have liked to have you kind of touch base with all of us. Maybe just a little bit more time explaining the canvas itself. But the interesting twist I thought you guys had, which I hadn't seen any other team do today so far, was the case study, right? I was really, as you were talking about that, I was trying to piece that together with kind of the go-giver aspect of your MTP, and I think it was there. It just took me a little while to kind of reach there. But and again, the other comment I would make is I like the idea of sort of the matchmaking, right? And using knowledge management to do that. So I think you're hot on the trail of something with this. So I really enjoyed it. So nice work there. All right, let's head over to Karina and see what Karina has for Team 17.
Perfect. Thank you, Eric. So congratulations. I really liked it. I love the diversity of the team. And if this is easy to say, but it's difficult to get. Normally we all tend to get together with people that are around us or that are like us, because of convenience of time schedule and everything. I think this is a great call for us to go and play for diversity and play for different locations and teams. So this is, I know in this case you guys have the time slot assigned, but it's just for us to think about when we do innovation, diversity is a great tool that we need to use and that we sometimes need to sacrifice other things in favor of this. So great to see that reflected here. I love the concept of go give, go givers. I think this aligns very well with the new world that we are envisioning, the world of abundance. We have abundance, and this is something that when you get abundance, you can either take it and convert it into power, and go up, or you can go and share it. And this go give goes with this idea of sharing that abundance and really go give, So congratulations, because I think the concepts behind what you put in one slide are very, very meaningful and are very, very relevant for what we are doing and our intention behind. I agree with Eric. It was great to see a case study or a use case. It really helps understanding what this means. However, I couldn't get if what you guys are offering is like an app. Like I didn't know what the solution was about, and I think it's important when you define a solution to find 7 words that are defining that solution. This is kind of our rule in innovation. What are those 7 words? That it could be like a software application that do this and this, or it's a product or whatever, or a device that connects you, whatever. So I missed that part. So it was hard to understand what the solution actually is. But I got the point and I got the concept, which I think is really good. So I encourage you guys to keep moving and keep thinking about this, because this is something that is with the abundance, it can be unlocked, and it's amazing if you guys find ways to unlock these things. So thank you and congratulations.
All right, great, thanks. Now over to Crystal and see what Crystal has for Team 17.
Congratulations, Team 17. You did a really, really great job. I really like the MTP. It's it's very massive. It's describe a beautiful picture of the world, and it's a shifting in mindset, which is really important for human beings right now. And then talking about the team, it was impressive actually, like with 11 team members from and with all the pretty not the same MTP for all, right? And a variety of countries. I'm very I think that your coach and the team members are really good at handling how we can manage all of this kind of abundance or a variety of ideas, and then how that can shape into one very good solution. So congratulations for Team 17. And then for the problem and the solution, I totally agree with Corina about for the solution. I think that maybe the team can focus on one specific problem, and then giving moving ahead with that, because right now I still see that it's pretty broad, and maybe for the next step you can think more deeply about that, because maybe 3 hours and then with all 11 team members, that might be something that we can do later, in the later phase. So I think it's pretty much that. So I really love the purpose behind. I love your case study as well. Maybe you can start with this kind of small case study. It can be this one or another one as you choose as hypothesis, and then you test with the market. Yeah. So congratulations, Team 17. Thank you so much for everything.
Eric, sorry, Amy. I missed one point that I really wanted to emphasize. I think this team did a phenomenal job on identifying what are the critical attributes and why, and making strong statements. I think it is not difficult to fill in the canvas. The difficulty is on deciding which ones are critical for the business. And I heard really great statements like, if we don't do this right, this won't fly, and things like that. So congratulations, because this is a best practice that we should all take, after filling a canvas, what are those things that are critical? What are our crux, as we call them, these really, really, really important things that are gonna determine the success or the failure, in this case about exponentiality. But I think they did an amazing job on that, and I wanted to emphasize. So thank you, team.
All right, great. Thanks, Karina. Thanks, Crystal. And thanks again to Team 17. We're going to be moving on to Team 24. Before we do, again, just a reminder to fill out survey forms. Francisco asked us again to make sure we're doing that right. So everybody should have forms filled out for Team 16 and 17. And now on to Team 24.
Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. I'm talking on behalf of Team 24. My name is Antonio Urquiza. It's a pleasure to be here in the future of Unity, and we're going to focus on the topic of racism. Our team is comprised, our coach was Cristiane Madureira, and it's comprised by myself, again, Antonio Urquiza, Alejandra Yanes, Benjamin Lazar, and Kenneth Barnett. The MTP for us will be empowering diversity to unleash racial equity. Now I'd like to turn it over to Ben, who's going to speak about the problem.
First of all, I would love to share my story with all of you. I came from Bolivia with my family, and there is a lot of stereotypes when you come to another country. For me, the special one that I feel really strong was, oh, you are very white to be from there. So this way we identify our key problem. That is, we could move forward, please, Antonio.
Yep.
Thank you. So we identify the key problem that as youth immigrants face lack of self-confidence and opportunities due to language barriers and cultural differences. Now, Ken is going to explain you a little bit more about our solution.
So Team 24 has decided to create a platform for evaluating the opportunity areas and developing the potential of these individuals, by connecting them with enterprises and immigrant organizations in order to find the right place for them. This platform that we plan to develop provides knowledge of historical cultural heritage, reduces barriers for competitive opportunities, and closes the gap between immigrant youth and enterprises and immigrant organizations to unleash social equity. Now, to ensure that our platform happens and is effective, we've leveraged the following attributes. Most important of which include our experimentation. We want to validate our hypothesis and through a prototype with the Mexican community in LA to see if we're getting the engagement and interest and desired outcomes that we seek. Another attribute that is important to Team 24 is leverage assets. And so we want to leverage immigrant NGOs, English schools, university research on cultural heritage, and genealogy services like 23andMe and Ancestry.com to ensure that we are providing the most competitive resources for the immigrant youth that operate our platform. Additionally, our staff on demand is going to include accomplished immigrants to serve as mentors for the youth that use our platform and second language teachers. We plan on engaging the youth by having leadership boards that highlight those that are pretty active on our platform. And some social technologies we plan to leverage include a contact us feedback form that will be tied to a backend database for proper processing of requests and tickets. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Okay, short and sweet, Team 24, thanks very much. So let's start with Karina with her feedback for Team 24.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, team. It's great to see Antonio and Cristiani working together there. I love the problem that you guys are picking. I think the stereotypes and it's a massive problem. I think we need to start thinking about people because of their uniqueness, like no matter the race or the gender or anything, like we are all unique. And I think this is a great starting point to say, okay, how do we change that? How do we change that status quo? I really like your NTP as well. I would remove the latest part to do something because it's just empowering diversity. Like I think the other part is ways of doing that, and that can change, but your North Star is how do we empower diversity? How do we understand that diversity is a good thing to have? And also, this is a personal thing. Each of us has its own style. But everything that ends by ing, it looks like more like a marketing thing. So maybe it's empower diversity because if we see today all the NTPs that are a reference, like Google, organize the world information, or Tesla, accelerate the change to sustainable energy. It is great to see how they are being used. When an NTP is powerful. You don't say, I work for Google. You say, I work with Google to organize the world information. And this is super powerful. And I think we need to understand that implication because the moment we say, I work with Tesla to accelerate the change to sustainable. So I like that use of the NTP, and I think you have a very powerful one. So I would really make it like maximize the impact there. One thing here that for me was making a little bit of noise is the word immigrant. Immigrant in a way for me means like you don't belong here. It's very conceptual, but it's more like you are not from here. You don't. So I think, for me, the challenge is how can we change that? Like, how can we change that that way of defining people? Are you an immigrant? I'm not an immigrant. Like I'm someone that I don't know. Like maybe it's just by changing the concept of immigrant, but I think that the connotation behind it's kind of like you don't belong. Yeah, or you're not from here, and I think we can change that. We can go further and break that paradigm too. So I would encourage the team. I would challenge the team to go one step further and see how can we change that, and how can we all belong everywhere without having to have a label that says I'm an immigrant or I'm not an immigrant. I think that would be awesome. And another thing that I would ask the team, if you guys continue, is to you're working on this platform idea. So I think when we are in a platform idea, we need to go very quickly to something specific. So what is that use case, or what is that one thing that you can actually do? I think that would be my next thing to work with you guys. Like, what is that one thing that how do we make this abstract concept into something very tangible that we can take an action today? Because platform by definition, they are global, they are scale, they can be disrupted by, like the concept and the problem that you're trying to solve. But how can we implement that tomorrow? I think this is the biggest challenge when you're trying to create a platform, and that you can solve by focusing on very specific things, the same way that Airbnb was focusing on like a concert in New York where there were no space, or Uber was for these hacker taxis. So starting very specific, and then opening the vision that you guys have to make it happen, right? But very good job, and congratulations.
All right, thanks, Karina. Let's check in with Crystal and see what Crystal has for Team 24.
So really good job, Team 24. I really love the project. I love the MTP, like the notion that we power diversity. Right now, the mindset is if we are different, then it's not good. Right? Like if we are different than other people, it's not good. But now, we changed the mindset and building, creating a world that is like to unleash radical equality. I really love that. And then the second thing is about the community. So actually, I see that maybe like if we can describe more about the community here and detect it from the beginning. So like when you work with this project, you can find out the resources out there that can like first is the people who have the same who have the problem, right? And maybe like finding out the people with the same MTP, and then who can help the team, right, in doing this. So it's going to be more powerful if you can take some time doing that. And then talking about the problem, I really like it when you like describe a very concrete problem. And then it's something that is the more and more relevant, like when we talk about like people from, for example, the students from different countries and coming to another country. So like the world is becoming more and more interconnected, and so that's gonna be something very interesting with the internet booming and like the internet connection of the world in the future. So and then for the scalability, I really love like the way you pick the important attributes that you think that you're gonna go ahead with, like experimentation, leverage assets, tap on demand, and engagement. However, I still like it might be my personal point of view, but just like consider that if you can take, for example, the community attribute and leverage that, that's gonna be powerful for the team. And I mean, like for the project and to get our MTP. So that's I hope that like with all of these comments, that's gonna be helpful to the team to go ahead with the project. But overall, it's it's amazing. I really love it. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks, Crystal. Appreciate it. So I would echo a lot of the feedback you already heard from both Crystal and Karina. So I think we all kind of noticed the video was a little short, right? I thought you guys really off to a great start. Really, really loved the MTP for sure. Nice, concise, right? It was massive. It was transformative. It was descriptive. It was tapped into abundance. Really, that kind of really set the stage. And then I would agree with Crystal, right? There was a good description of the team, I think, at the beginning, obviously, but the community part, remember, again, from the training was, I think, one of the big misses, right? So wanted to hear more about whether the purpose was shared, whether the problem was actually possessed by somebody, and whether or not, there's actually help with the solution. So maybe just kind of give that another look. And then moving to the problem and the solution, yeah, I would tend to agree with Karina with the word choice with immigrants, I mean, I think we all kind of understood what you're saying. Just change the word, right? I think you're in good shape there. But I like the notion about how the lack of self-confidence and the language barriers kind of get in the way and all that. And we know that for those of you that have moved to different countries and living there, whether or not you speak the language, you always feel like an outsider, especially at the beginning, and sometimes even for way too long, even after that. So I was definitely interested in the solution, and again, the platform one, which is quite popular these days. As just a solution. And I liked how you mentioned about, evaluating opportunities and looking at these opportunity areas, I think is how you actually put it. So I wanted to hear a little bit more about that. And then I really like the notion about developing the individual potential, right? So whether that's like personal development, personal success, self-improvement, that kind of thing. Clearly, if you're in this kind of a world and it's kind of a problem, you're going to need all the help you can get, right? So whatever you can do to kind of help yourself and kind of tap from others, even better. Liked the canvas, you had 7 attributes, not bad, right? So you didn't fill in the whole canvas as well. Would have liked to have you spend a little bit more time on that. Generally speaking, if you have a canvas of 4 attributes or 7 or all 10, touch upon whatever attributes that you talked about there, right? I did like the notion in particular staff on demand when you talked about mentors, right? And even just second language teachers, right? Instructors. I thought that was great. But I think overall, you guys did a really good job there. So nice work. And again, reminder to everybody to fill in your feedback forms for teams 16, 17, and 24. So you should have 3 forms if you haven't been on the docket yet. And now we will move to our 4th and last team of the evening. We're going to move to team 25. You'll notice the video is a little different. So they had some technical challenges, if you will. We hope it's still viewable and audible.
Planet, Love, and Action. Number 25, our team is Marcelo Lopez Nocera, Greg Apodaca, Marilyn O'Hearn, Isabel Lopez, Ruth Barrera, and Michael Freeby. Our uniting factor, after much discussion, is loving the planet and its people.
Our team and our community is the people of the world. For example, in Bolivia, there are more than 34 original ethnic groups with their own cultural characteristics, languages, and different knowledge and ideas. So we pick the young people for do this job.
The problem is that people around the world is different. We have different thoughts. We have different cultures. So often we have problems to understand each other.
We have been thinking about the solution, which mostly consists of a virtual education platform addressed to school children that can be used to carry out the cultural exchanges.
Using the EXL canvas and the attributes, we thought that across the top you can see that loving the planet and its people is the massive transformative purpose we have that we think will draw people to our effort. In the left-hand column, you see community and crowd. We thought that youth and adults both were the people that are our target audience, and then using social media that everybody seems to be adapting now, and it's kind of sucking us into the social media platform as a way to communicate would be a good way to communicate things. Further down in that left-hand column where it says leveraged assets, thought instead of pushing out a new message, that we could reach and partner with manufacturers of games that already reach billions of people, both youth and adults, and encourage them to incorporate our messages of love for the planet and people. And that way we could scale our effort times probably 1,000 and use the gamification model of engaging people, entertaining people, but educating them at the same time. We also thought in the right-hand column where it says experimentation, that instead of us trying to push out ways to spread love and saving the planet, we could ask people to experiment. Perhaps they have unique challenges in their community, and they could experiment with them and try different methods, and then share all those methods on social media, and we could all learn from each other and then implement best practices. So the implementation side is, as we have developed our empathy and understanding for the planet, and we spread the word of cultural understanding and empathy, that we can then use youth and young adults to spread the word and exchange knowledge in different communities around the world, so that we can save the planet. And we have a short 10-year window to do that in, and we need everybody to mobilize and engage in their communities. So how cool is that, everybody? Good job.
Very good. Thank you very much. Great job.
Okay.
All right. That was Team 25. We'll start with Crystal and see what Crystal has for Team 25.
Team 25, yeah, it's really good. I really love your MTP from the loving, the love. I personally, I see that it's the most beautiful things for why we exist. So I really love that you touched that point, and you are going towards that. However, for the MTP, maybe because when we hear that, it's more of the action from ourselves, loving the planet and its people. So maybe it's more the action from ourselves. But if you can iterate and make it kind of loving, but for the whole humanity, rather than only the action from ourselves. So it is just my personal, when I heard that, maybe, yeah. So that's for the MTP. And then for the solution, problem, I see it's big. The solution, I really like it. But if you can describe more in detail of how we can do that, how we can connect and then boost this the love within people, then it's gonna be better. I think in the next phase, if you move ahead with the initiative, we need to figure out this. And for the attributes, right now I see that actually the attributes, it's still we have only 3 attributes here. And then I think, for example, if we have community in scale, and if we can have autonomy in managing this scale, this abundance, community in abundance, and then if we can have autonomy, for people in the community, if we can allow that, that's gonna be good, and it's gonna be something an exponential project. So that is from me. I hope that this information is gonna be helpful for the team. Thank you so much, Team 25.
All right, thanks very much, Crystal. Let's head over to Karina and check in with her and see what she has for Team 25.
Okay, so thank you, Team 25. Really a great presentation. I like how you dealing with the technical problems, because honestly it was a nice presentation. So I couldn't feel there was any problem there. From my side, on the MTP, I agree with Crystal. Love is great. However, for me, what is the action? What I'm gonna change? Because at the end, the NTP needs to solve why am I here? What happens if my company or if I myself leave? What will happen? It will be a change, or what will be the problem? So for me, I would take some verbs that imply more action. So that means that, okay, maybe it's I don't know, something related to love. I think love can be a great word to include there, but maybe not as the main action point. I love it. I think you nailed it when you said understand and accept the differences. We are all different, as we were saying before, and some people don't accept it, and that's true, you know, like and some people embrace it, and that is great, and some people just don't accept that we may be different, that we may think different. So I think this goes much broader in that sense, you know, and I think the work is going on the other side. You know, we see, especially in Spain, now with the pandemic, I have seen how people went to the radical extreme, and we see that with politicians all over the world, right? But what is going on that we are not accepting different comments, different opinions, different way of thinking, different colors, different gender. It's amazing, right? So I think when you are putting that problem on the table and say, hey, this is happening, and what are we gonna do about this? I think it's a great step forward, you know, so congratulations for that. And as we said with Team 16, I think game can play a major role here, you know, and I think game can be an amazing tool to overcome some barriers that we have, to overcome some stereotypes that we have. So I love that path that you guys are choosing. I have the same question as I had for Team 16, is how are you gonna make people engage with the game, you know, because sometimes when we use gamification, we said, okay, engagement attribute check, you know, but it's like, no, but how are we gonna make this happen, and how are we gonna make people join and get there? Just not because it's a game, everyone is gonna join us, you know. So I would encourage you to go and see what is the incentive for people. You were talking about children. Okay, what is that beach-headed, that main use case that you want to focus first, and make it happen, you know, and test especially. You know, I love that you were mentioning like the key attributes. You were talking about experimentation and these things. So yeah, this is something that we need to do and that we can not forget. So congratulations for that as well. And I think that's it. That's from my side. I really like all the points that were on the table. I think they're all urgent and needed. And this is the main challenge. You know, how can we see all this happening as soon as possible, because the world really needs it. You know? So thank you so much for addressing it from this angle.
Thanks, Karina. Yeah, I would echo, you know, a lot of the comments and feedback from both Crystal and Karina for Team 25. Again, you know, I think every team had about 7 minutes to record a video, and I noticed, of course, you know, Team 25's was a little short as well. So that just kind of had me asking for more, right? Like, I think also, you know, like with Crystal and Karina, the MTP resonated with me, right? So sometimes all you have to do is just wordsmith it a little bit, right? So I think your original MTP was something like loving the planet's people, right? Like, who could argue against that, right? But I think some of the feedback you already got with the MTP, maybe just a little wordsmithing. So again, think about the future state, right? 30 years ahead, 20 years ahead, whatever. What does that final state look like, right? Is it transformative? Is it massive? So maybe something like a loving planet for loving people, or just, again, sometimes you can even keep the same words and just how you kind of order it, right? So I think you're really, really close with kind of nailing the MTP. A quick, I think, intro on the team, and then I wanted to see a little bit more again with the community. So I've noticed that at least tonight with a lot of the teams, minus I think the one exception where really wanted to make sure that, you know, you were going after the community. So in looking at your solution, you talked about targeting school children, which I thought was, you know, rather interesting, right? Trying to target those younger generations. I kept asking myself, what about the older generations? Like all of us adults, right? Like we're the ones that are all messed up, right? But I liked, again, how you're kind of going after, or was trying to help the school children. And you talked about, you know, using games and competitions and cultural exchanges. I think cultural exchanges I like the best for your solution as well. And I would echo again some of the feedback you got from Karina and Crystal about the platform itself. Like the idea, and you know, it's easier said than done. Of course, you can build in, then again, if nobody comes, then what's going to happen, right? Again, this is a huge issue to tackle. I'm trying to think what else, you know, in terms of the problem and the solution. Yeah, I think you made a valiant attempt to define that problem. You talked about differences, and then, you know, we just talked about the solution here. And then lastly, on the EXO Canvas, had 4 attributes. Great, right? So you had community and crowd for one of them. You had leveraged assets. You had engagement, of course, with gamification, and lastly, experimentation. So I thought those were kind of well targeted for this particular MTP, and obviously this super important subject. Again, over time, you're probably going to work the canvas a little bit. You'll change some stuff. You'll add some more attributes and all that. So I think overall, great start. Would like to see this one as in addition to all the other ones kind of incubate on. So. All right, folks, we are winding down. Just wanted to, again, double check with folks, make sure you filled out feedback forms for your 3 teams, right? So obviously not your team, but for the other teams, you should have filled out feedback forms. The link, of course, has been in the chat pretty much the whole time. Again, don't forget, tomorrow is the closing session. You don't want to miss that. It's at 12 Eastern, 1800 European. A couple of surprises as always. And, I talked about sort of the incentives for moving forward for those of you that would like to incubate your ideas, which honestly, I think is the huge value out of this. Like today was just a start, right? I know you got together. Some of you went through the forming, storming, norming, and hopefully performing stages, right, of teams. And you had some good experiences there. Hopefully you'll stay in touch. You'll be part of the community, Purpose Alliance, the Bay Area EXO community, right? We're all kind of in this together. Just amazing work really from all the teams that I saw today. So just wanted to just quickly check in with Crystal and Karina again, just to see if they have any last comments for really anybody or any team. So Crystal, anything else you wanted to add that maybe you haven't got a chance or you thought of later?
I just want to congratulations to all the teams, really all the problems that you touched today. It's really important. It's the big problem that the world is facing, and it's something that we need disruptive solution. And we have beautiful MTP. And I think together and with Proposed Alliance, we have the opportunities to go ahead. And we are very happy to support the team, even for further steps. And then we build something concrete, something that we can launch and make it happen. And then realize our MTP. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Karina, any other last bits of advice for any of the teams?
Well, just congratulate everyone. I think it's amazing how, people, when we get together, how we can really change the world. I think for me, the most important thing is if we believe that by implementing these solutions, a situation that we lived, like the George Floyd situation, could be avoided. If this is really changing what we have seen in the world today, and that we don't want to see tomorrow, So, and I think that if we see these initiatives succeed, can we really make that change? And I think I would say yes. If we see people that are educated, like children that are understanding the differences, and we all embrace the diversity, and we welcome the immigrants, and we don't treat them as such, like we treat them as one of us. I think this is something that we can really make an impact, and these things, we will stop seeing them, that this is what we want. At the end of the day, this is what we are all looking for, to stop this madness and to really see a better world and a better future. So I want to congratulate the teams. I have seen a question on the chat, which one is if some solutions stand out from the rest. And from my many years in innovation, I would say that this is just the beginning, and things can change so much. Sometimes you see something coming out of the field, and it's like saying when you plant something, sometimes it looks very awful, and then it's an amazing plant and flowering and blossom, and sometimes something that looks amazing, it dies the second day, and it's like, how, this looks so amazing, and now it has died. So I don't think we are here to judge or to say, one stand out from the others. I think they are all potential flowers, and it depends on how much we care and how much we water them and how much we build on them, that this can become something relevant and meaningful.
Yep, well said, Karina. So I would concur again with the comments from Crystal and Karina, right? So again, think of today as like a start, right? You're kind of thrown together. You all managed to pull it through, created some great problem solving, ideation, lots of discussions, conflict resolution, right? All that stuff. Again, that 3-hour time frame sounds like a lot, and as I'm sure as you all realize, it's kind of like it's aggressive, right? And of course, you got to record the video and all that, right? So it's you guys had a busy day and even a busy week, right? Trying to watch the training and just get ready for this and all that. But really, again, the huge value add, the ROI is going to come in the coming days and weeks, right? So yeah, you'll get a nice overview tomorrow. The feedback forms that everybody's been filling out for you and your teammates will be made available next week. You'll get credentials from Purpose Alliance. And again, now like kind of the gates are open, right? So like as Karina mentioned, right, it's up to you to kind of like water it, care, feed for it and all that, and your ideas can blossom. And I can tell you from personal experience from this team that I'm still helping incubate and accelerate their ideas from the May challenge for COVID, the future unemployment. Like they've changed a lot, they pivoted a lot, but they are still red hot and on fire, and they meet regularly. And I'm telling you, like they're going places. So with that, again, just kind of keep that in mind, right? Entrepreneurship is messy, right? Innovation is messy, right? And I think you guys saw that and experienced it a little bit today. But again, this is a start, right? So perfection was never the goal. It's always about making little incremental changes, right? So you guys are definitely there. So I want to encourage you to move forward, stay with your teams, incubate your ideas, and kind of do great things in the world. So with that, we're pretty much winding down. So we have no other presentations to watch. We had just the 4 English ones today. We did another 4 English ones earlier today. The rest, of course, were all in Spanish. So appreciate everybody's participation in the Purpose Challenge, Future of Unity. And again, just remember, challenges happen all the time. So, check the website. You can join any challenge as long as you can speak the language. And it can be a global one. It can be a country one. Of course, you don't have to live in the country to do that, right? As you all know. So just keep that in mind. I know there's a couple of them happening next month and beyond, and we'll see what the rest of the year brings. But hopefully you're all inspired and jazzed from this. And we, again, appreciate everybody's time and attention this week and your participation. And again, congratulations to all teams. So with that, we're going to wind down. And again, I hope everybody has a great evening, morning, or wherever you are. So thanks again.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good evening, day, afternoon. We are in different time zones, so this is really nice. This is very diverse already. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much
Bye,
to
guys.
everybody. Bye-bye. Take care.